Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Taste and Drink. How to taste and drink with John O'Hersey. Now, I am wearing the same clothes as last week because last week was 5 minutes ago. Last week we tasted a Chardonnay from Chablis, incredibly clean, pure, straight down the line Chablis. So, this week we're going to attack a Chardonnay of a different style. Now, this came out a few months ago, and I urged quite a few people to grab a few bottles and explore Jura. Now, it's time for me to walk through the process or how one would approach such a different wine. So first things first, let's put some wine in the glass. 2016, Matheny Chardonnay from Jura. Now, Jura is home to Vengeance, which is a Sauvignon grape, spends 6 years and 3 months in barrel, and it loses about 38% and develops a flor, a yeast, the same as what happens with sherry, Fino sherry, Matheny sherry. Gives a sort of a salty, sort of nutty sort of edge. And the wines are incredibly intense and can be intrusive. They can be bacterial, but all the while also being some of the most moorish and delicious wines if you've got an open mind and if you've got the right bottle. I always suggest, if anyone is playing along at home, have some Comté cheese on hand, just in case you don't like it. You'll have the Comté and the wine will taste like clean Chardonnay. Not necessarily clean, but a lot cleaner. So, let's look at the colour. Deep, golden, sort of straw. It's funny because I want to say there's both sort of like a sort of a dullness to it, a bit of oxidative, but also life. Now, so whenever that happens, I swirl it about a bit more, and there's a sort of there is quite a sort of a vibrant hue, but it is very deep. Now, when a wine is deep like this, and you can sort of see it sort of go white around the edges, for me, that's sort of telling me that the development is premature. Whereas if it goes right out to the brim in a constant manner, it'll make sense once you have a look at a couple more. Then it usually tells me that it's the style. So, let's smell. Now, first things first, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. On the nose, the first thing I smell is a varnishy sort of character. And my first reaction is, what is that? Now, if I had never drunk the wines of Jura, my first reaction would be, I'm not drinking that. But if you look a little deeper, that varnish is the gateway to its complexity. If you can sort of look past that and through to the fruit, you'll start to see very sort of similar sort of fruit flavour groups as the Chablis from last week. The main difference is that the florals are golden flowers, quite a bit richer, almost rotting. The fruits are bruised and overtly ripe orchard fruits. So instead of Granny Smith apple, you are seeing pound pears, the really big pears that they use for cider in Normandy. And where you see fresh lemon and lime juice in the Chablis, in this you're seeing a combination of preserved lemon and rotting lemons on the floor of an orchard. Now, this all sounds awful, but it's not. It's actually really quite delicious. And every single time you put your nose back in it, it changes and it develops and it opens up and it becomes tighter. Now, all the while describing all these sort of rich and sort of rotting characters, which sound awful but make perfect sense when you've got your nose in the glass, is there is still an underlying minerality, and something that makes your jaw tense. On the palate, the first thing is again acidity. It's got about the same amount of acidity as the Chablis, but it's wrapped in that sort of rich and rotting and this is what Jura does. It confuses you, and it's charm. It's not like an older white wine with development and all those characters where you're umming and ahhing whether it's past its best and it's going to tip over the edge. Or with those kind of wines, grab a bit of cheese and put a little bit of extra salt and it'll tighten up. You're just wondering what the hell is going on because you don't quite understand. But you keep wanting more and more of it. I don't have the answers. I really am enjoying this glass of wine, and I cannot wait to get back to Jura and have it with coq au vin jaune or aged Comté. So, when do you drink this? When you're up for it, or when you need it. And you can decipher that the way you like. Okay, well, I'm walking away more confused than I was when I started this episode, so I'm sorry. Enjoy your night.